I talk about rules, and, I'm like, back. I don't want all those rules. But the thing is, we're in a science here, and there's principles. And so the principles basically say that we need to be in the consciousness of spirit. And in that consciousness of spirit, then we can shift and change and develop a life that is wonderful, that is absolutely incredible. So I brought all these books, so I know somewhere in there that I might find the right answer. But, I'm reminded of, I like stories. I like old stories. I like things like Aesop's fables. And the reason I like them is because there's always a message, like that guy Jack and that big old beanstalk way up there. The way I heard it was this. And we're talking about this because it's going to relate to a couple of things that we're going to talk about. But, they had this cow, and they were getting milk from it every day, right? And the mom's like, oh, we need to have breakfast. Milk the cow, see if we can get some milk. And the cow said, not today. I'm not giving you any milk today. So mom's like, oh, my God, what are we going to do? Well, we need to sell the cow so we can get some money so we can eat, right? Quick fix, get some money so we can eat. Okay, so she says, Jack, take this cow downtown and see if you can get some money for the cow. And so Jack goes down, he's got the cow and a little bell, ting, 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 ting. Come on, Mabel. Come on, Bessie, come on. So all of a sudden, this guy comes out of nowhere, and he looks at this guy, Jack, and he sees this cow. And he said, what are you doing? He said, well, my cow didn't give any milk today, and we're really poor, so we need to sell the cow so we can eat the rest of the week. And the guy looks at him and says, wait a minute, you're going to sell your cow so you can eat for the rest of the week? He said, come on, let's sit down and talk. So he pulls up a chair and he says, listen, where'd you get this information? He says, my mom is in such fear that she says, we need to sell the cow so we can eat. And the guy looks at it and says, yeah, he said, but you're missing something here. You're missing the fact that in consciousness, we can develop an idea that says, I can always have something to eat. I can always have money. I can always be successful. Jack goes, that ain't the truth. I got a cow, we eat milk in the morning, got a couple vegetables that we eat. That's not going on in my life. He said, wait, hear me out. He said, what you're doing is you're believing this consciousness that says you can't have it. But the truth is that you're living in this abundant universe, and they're overlooking a hill, see? And they look back, and he says, look at all those beautiful farms out there. Look at all that beautiful growth out there. Jack looks at it. He said, wow, that's pretty impressive. He said, but my mom wants me to sell the cow. He said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take your cow off your hands, and I'll give you this magic idea. And we'll call them seeds, because that's what they are. We're planting seeds. But you need to know that these seeds hold the consciousness of the universe. That's the way I heard it anyway. Everybody hear it this way? So the consciousness of the universe is in knowing there is always enough, always abundance, always perfect flow. So Jack takes these seeds. He's kind of happy. He said, wow, that was powerful. Where did that guy come from? Who was that masked man? And he took these seeds and he took them home. And he said, Mom, look what I got. She said, you sold a cow? What do you got, $20? $15? What do you got? No, Mom, I have these seeds. They're magic seeds. And they come with information. She goes, what are you talking about, information? I told you to go down and sell the cow. What kind of information are you bringing me home? Mom, there's plenty out there. There's no lack. There's no limitation. We've been bringing that on ourselves for so long, but that's not the truth. What do you got in your hand, son? I have these magic seeds that come with magic information about prosperity and consciousness. I sat with this man for hours and we talked about life and the givingness of life, how it never, ever, ever says we can't have it. She looks at these seeds and throws them out the window. Jack, go to bed. No milk for you tonight. No food. What'd you do? And he's like, Mom, you have to listen. Because what I'm telling you is the truth. There is so much prosperity. I saw it. I overlooked these farms and these fields and these gardens. There was fruit hanging off the edges, and there was just all this stuff. We have this little garden that doesn't produce much because we don't believe it. We have to change our thinking. Go to bed. She throws the seeds out. She's angry. She's mad. She's upset. It's that little thought consciousness that says, you can't have that. Just because you want it, you can't have that. So Jack wakes up next day, and this beanstalk is right outside his window. And he jumps on a chair, and he jumps onto the beanstalk. He goes, oh my God, look at this. That guy was right. Look at this, a beanstalk. And he climbs up and climbs up. And he goes through the clouds. And he sees this palace. And he runs up to the palace and he asks the lady outside watering a garden, excuse me, I haven't eaten since yesterday. Could you please give me something to eat? She goes, who are you? Where did you come from? If the giant, and there's a giant lives there, a big ogre, mean guy, says if he sees you, he's going to eat you. Nah, that won't happen. Can you give me something to eat, please? All of a sudden, you hear, fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell an Englishman. So the lady's like, no, you don't smell anything. That's yesterday. You had an Englishman yesterday. That's the leftover smell. She's trying to help Jack. So the giant falls asleep. And then when he's sleeping, Jack sees this big pile of 2 bags of gold. And he looks in one, it's all this gold. He said, oh my God. So he grabs a stack of gold and he trots back to the beanstalk and he slides down. His mother's waking up just about that point. She goes, Jack, what is this in the yard? What's going on here? He said, Mom, it's true. Look it. This is gold. And he puts it down at her feet and she goes, Jack, where did you go? What is going on here? She says, Mom, it's consciousness. I changed my thinking. And now I have this bag of gold. So it's all about presence. You know, I really like being in the presence of mind, presence of being, you know, many years ago, I didn't have much. In fact, I didn't have anything. And I started changing my life piece by piece, and things started to change, you know, and then all of a sudden things changed some more. And I got a little reading here to do. It's called The Concept of a Successful Man. Could we see the mentality of a successful man? We should find the imprint of his success written in bold letters across the doorway of his consciousness. The successful man is sure of himself, sure of what he's doing, certain of the outcome of his undertakings. As much gathers more. As like attracts like, so success breeds success, and conviction is attended by certainty. The whole teaching of Jesus is have faith and to believe. But to those who believe only in failure, the law comes in corresponding measure, measuring back to them the logical outcome of their beliefs. Just as Marilyn said in that beautiful treatment, as I believe, my consciousness shifts, and as I believe, I'm able to create more in my life. So it goes on and says, all thoughts of failure or depression must be erased from the mentality, just like Jack did. He erased those thoughts from his mentality. And positive thoughts of achievement should take their place. Have faith in life. There's somebody here with the name Faith. She's over there. Beautiful name. Have faith in life, in God, and your fellow man. Just like Jack did. He believed this man. Know that right is might. Get some degree of real conviction and stay with it, just like Jack. The cosmic mind is neither wishy-washy nor willy-nilly. It is positive, certain of itself, and sure of the outcome. So that reminds me of a story. You know, I was asked, I don't know how I was asked. I don't know if, maybe I can get some people to help paint this thing here, this whole backdrop, this whole wall. The stage needs to be fixed. And I said, well, I don't know. I don't paint anymore, but I did a treatment. Everybody knows what a treatment is. It's a spiritual mind prayer. And we use different steps. But it's always being in the affirmative, always saying, I can do this, and I will do this. And I, like Jack, I believe that there's good for me out there. So I put it out there. I said, men, we have a men's group here. I said, we've been asked to paint the backdrop of the stage. And I said, not only have we asked to paint, but we're going to have a wonderful breakfast, and it's going to be incredible. Now, I said, and don't worry about breakfast. It'll be all taken care of. And I said, don't worry about the paint. We'll figure that out, too. And I said, don't worry about the tools. I'll bring them. And then all of a sudden, I put that out in an email. And all of a sudden, all the men in the men's group didn't come. But all these other men came from all kinds of different directions. People who said they would come to the men's group before, some of the men came from the men's group, which was really good. We had Paul, we had Bill, but we had new people come, looking, saying, what's going on? We had the paint supplied. They changed the color at the last moment. We didn't care. Give us paint. We're painting. Look how beautiful that looks, right? So all of a sudden, we're here. Guy shows up, Ed, back there. I brought breakfast. I had a little conversation with him. I said, can you bring breakfast? We'll pay you. He brought eggs and bacon and sausage and French toast and strawberries and tangerines and orange juice. And another friend came and made fresh roasted coffee, beans. He just roasted. There was a discovery class here yesterday. Some guy in the discovery class, which is a new class for beginners, it's like a few hours big. Some guy in the class, we needed more paint, gave us his credit card and said, buy more paint. So we were like, wow, spirits moving through us. Look at this. We had people on ladders up and down. It was a mess. It was a real mess. We had paint flying everywhere. We didn't care. Rollers going up, rollers going down, this way, that way. I used to be a painter, and I was watching all this. I'm like, oh, man, Okay, let it go. Let it go. Let them paint whichever way they want. And look at it, it's beautiful. It was treatment. It was principle. Somebody asked a question, we took care of it. The other day I was talking to my wife, and she goes, oh, this amazing thing happened. I said, what? She goes, she's in the home care business. She takes care of seniors in their home. And she goes, what did she say? She said, God, I got this person. She is so powerful. She said, I needed a live-in a few months back. She goes, I called this woman, and in a couple hours, she called me back and said, I can do it. So she said, holy moly. Actually, the woman called her and said, listen, do you have a live-in? And she's like, oh, yeah, this woman must be praying. Like, give me some live-in work. So she called the other day. She said, I'm done a case. Do you have any live-in work for me? And 5 minutes after my wife hung up, she got a phone call, and a case she had went into living status. So she's like, oh my God, this woman is so powerful. She's just like praying for live-ins, and they show up. And that's the thing with Jack. Remember Jack? Remember our friend Jack? So he come back. He come back down. Mom's kind of like, oh, I don't know, Jack. This is pretty good, but I'm not sure. He said, Mom, there's more. He said, there is so much more. If we believe it, we can have it. And she's starting to say, okay, I can gather a little bit of this information. I can take a little bit of this information, but I'm not ready to take it all in yet. But keep telling me about it, and maybe I will be. So next day, Jack goes up that beanstalk again, way, way up through the clouds. All of a sudden, he sees that woman again, and he says, hi, do you remember me? He goes, yeah, I think I remember you yesterday. Didn't you take some gold from us? Nah. I just have a consciousness that's new. And there was gold coming out, and I said, So all of a sudden, he hears that noise, fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell an Englishman. So Jack hides. He said, wife, what is that smell? I smell flesh. She's like, no, dear. That's the mutton you ate yesterday. She's like, oh, okay. So all of a sudden he goes, takes his hen. Lay. Hen rolls out a nice gold egg. Jack's like, oh my God. He's hiding in the corner. He said, oh my God. So after the giant ogre eats, he goes to sleep. And Jack comes out and takes that hen and calls it Cookie. He said, hey, Cookie, come with me. And down the pipe he goes. And he brings it home and he goes, Mom, look at this. She said, you brought back a hen. Great, we'll cook it. I said, no, you can't cook this hen. You can't cook this hen because this is our prosperity. It's just flowing. Watch. Cookie, lay an egg. Cookie lays a golden egg. She's like, oh my God, what do we got here? She's like, I'm believing. I'm seeing it. I'm feeling it. I'm seeing the truth. I'm experiencing this wholeness. So I also work in the home care industry as well. And I had this client. I work for a different, same organization, but different territory. And I had this client that I walked in and I'm trying to help in the getting this client nurtured and accepting care and everything. And I said, how you doing today? She goes, I'm having a hard day. And she's been saying this for days. And I'm like, yeah, but you can't say that. You got to say, life is good. You got to be in the positive because our mind is so powerful. And our faith, or what Jesus said, ask and you shall receive. Remember that thing? So the idea is, it's not what Jesus said, it's law. That's the real thing. So Jesus said, ask and you shall receive. And it's have faith and belief, right? The energy of the universe says, whatever you want, I love you so much that I will give it to you. So we have to stand God and make sure we're asking the right things. So this woman's like, I'm really having a hard time. For days, I go see her again. Her husband was coming out of a rehab. We got him all situated. I'd say, how you doing? She's, I said, you have to shift your consciousness. You have to change that. So I can't change that. So like my wife, lady, she says, I have work, I have power, I have energy. She's working. This woman says, I don't like what's going on. I'm feeling pain. And now she's in the hospital. They got put in the hospital 2 days ago because she's ill, obviously. But she kept saying how ill she was and how she couldn't change that thought. And all of a sudden she's in the hospital with a slight case of pneumonia and whatever else they're going to conjure up in the hospital. And it's sad because, not everybody believes in the Jack and the Beanstalk story. But I'm just going to read a couple things about principles, because that was the name of the talk, was actually principles. I got a flag back there that's flagging me down, but I got time. So it says, when in the midst of discord or trouble or confusion, talk happiness. Harmony will soon be restored. The majority can easily change their minds for the better when someone takes the lead. You can take the lead by talking happiness. Talk prosperity. When times are not good, a man himself must make them better. And he can make them better by doing his best and having faith in that power that produces prosperity. When men have faith in prosperity, they will think prosperity, live prosperity, and thus do that which produces prosperity. And you can give man faith in prosperity by constantly talking prosperity. So I was constantly trying to tell this woman to change a little bit of thinking, and she couldn't yet. She's like Jack's mom. And it brings me back to the story of Jack. Jack believed. Jack is now very prosperous, very married, has a beautiful wife, lives in a beautiful kingdom. And all of this is because he changed his thinking. His mom's doing quite well too, because she believed that her farm could be a successful farm, and she was able to buy a nice farm with those golden eggs. And her whole life is anew, as mine is, as yours can be. Change your thinking, change your life. Be on God of all those things that your mind says when you can't, because know that you really can. Thank you. Just for, like I say, we sell books here. And the first one was from The Hidden Power of the Bible by Ernest Holmes. So it's actually Uncle Ernie. It's a great book. And the second one has become my biggest favorite book in the world. And it's called The Ideal Made Real, or Applied Metaphysics for Beginners by Christian D. Lawson. Get this one. It'll save your life. Thank you.